Some of you out there may not realize that the Prop 8 battle in California has spilled over the entire nation. A quick history in a few seconds. Prop 22 was not an amendment. It was just a part of California family law. It passed in California a long time ago, in the year 2000. It simply was 14 words. Only marriage between a man and woman is valid and recognized in California. That's what the whole amendment was. That was overturned by a judge many years later. Along comes Proposition 8 that you probably have heard about. It's the same 14 words. Listen to it. Only marriage between a man and a woman is valid and recognized in California. That's all Proposition 8 is. It passed. A second time, Californians had voted on this. Then they took it to the Supreme Court of California. It passed there overwhelmingly among the judges. They authenticated this as bona fide constitutional according to the California Constitution. Then somebody decided, let's take it up against the U.S. Constitution. And that's what happened when you heard the ruling from Judge Von Walker recently. That means Proposition 8 in California is no longer a California matter, the definition of marriage in one state, but it affects all 31 states that have voted in favor of marriage. 31 states have voted on the issue. 31 states have voted in favor of traditional natural marriage. No state has ever voted, the people have ever voted against natural marriage. So now it's come from this particular court and it heads on. And here to help us, Jordan Lorance, an attorney with the Alliance Defense Fund. Take it from there and help us understand legally what is happening in language we can understand. Hard for an attorney, right?
That's very difficult, but I'm praying for the gift of interpretation of tongues here.
We believe it.
The best team of lawyers possible is defending Prop 8 in court, and all the tidal wave of malignment that you've heard from in the press is just untrue. Chuck Cooper and his team of attorneys, along with a number from the Alliance Defense Fund, have proven the case of why we have marriage. It is now going to be on appeal to the Federal Appeals Court in San Francisco, and they're going to hear oral arguments on December 6th of this year. And we need to pray. We don't even know who the judges are going to be. 3 of the judges are going to hear it.
It's in San Francisco.
San Francisco, we got to get the right judges there. And I just want to point out to people that it is not inevitable that we're going to lose this. And if you look back in church history, there may be an alternative reason why we're having all that. And this is the conflict is causing us to clarify why we have marriage. 15 years ago or so when this started, marriage was just part of the wallpaper of society. People didn't really know why we had it. Now, as in church history, the heretics have stood up and started espousing error. And the Orthodox are then forced to clarify and to deepen their understanding of marriage, as you've done through the Prop 8 battle. Maggie Gallagher is one of the top explainers in America. And I think we have to see this as an opportunity to explain that when you put men and women together, it's inevitable that they produce children. And the consensus of world culture since the beginning of time is that if you just say, hey, we're not going to do anything about that, the men end up being irresponsible, the women are exploited, and the children are not raised. And that's why societies say we have to funnel this inevitable procreation into marriage so that the next generation is raised up in the best social environment possible of one man and one woman, their own father and mother, the complete spectrum of humanity, and a lifelong monogamous commitment, exclusive sexual commitment for a lifetime. And that when you begin messing with that and say people should be able to do whatever they want, you end up with chaos. And one of the things is you're going to get, when you've heard these results about the fatherlessness, all of this, we're just going to reap more and more social chaos. That's all in the record. And that's going to be presented to the judges at the Ninth Circuit, the Federal Appeals Court.
When does that happen?
And that will be December 6th. And that should be a focus of the prayer and fasting, that we get the right judges whose hearts are turned, and for Chuck Cooper and the team of ADF attorneys that are going to be working on that appeal.
There'll only be three judges?
Yes. And it's probably going to end up at the Supreme Court. But this is going to be an important stop. We want to see this district court opinion that was so terrible overturned.
if whoever loses on that one is probably going to go to the Supreme Court.
Yes,
what
that's
kind
right.
of a time frame might we be talking about?
I think we could be talking about a year or two. Just that things can go really quick or they can go really fast. I mean, even what Judge Walker did by having a full-blown trial was a surprise even to the people on the other side who were attacking Prop 8. They didn't expect that, and it dragged things out longer than what we expected. So you never know. God is in control, and this is an opportunity for us to clarify for a watching world why marriage is the way that it is. And it's not a product of prejudice. It's not a product of empty religiosity. It's the ecology of humanity that God has created. And we got to get back to our right understanding of that.
Just so we make sure we're all on the same page, too, we understand the implications. It's not possible in any culture for a heterosexual and homosexual marriage strategy to exist side by side. I was doing a debate with on Channel 35 in Los Angeles with a man, and that question was asked, well, can't you just coexist and have heterosexual and homosexual marriage side by side? Before I got a chance to answer, the guy on the other side, an atheist, an attorney, well known in Los Angeles, said, no, absolutely not. They cannot mutually coexist. And he went into explanations why that's the case. If we lose the definition of marriage in this country, know for sure three things begin to happen. Not necessarily the next day, but in process. A loss of personal freedoms. And your organization is defending people right now who've had that happen in their respective states.
I'm defending a photographer in New Mexico who declined to photograph a same-sex ceremony that has no legal significance in New Mexico being sued for discrimination. We're seeing counselors charged with before their ethics board to lose their state licenses because they believe marriage is only defined as one man and one woman. Graduate students being thrown out of state university counseling programs, social work programs, because they believe marriage is one man and one woman. Like John the Baptist, we may have to suffer for God's definition of marriage, but it is important for people to realize how critical this is. And God has called this generation, the people that are alive now, to stand strong and to clarify why marriage is the way it is.
Thank you, Jordan. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
As you're slipping down, I want to say two more things. One is loss of personal freedoms that he spoke about. Number two, loss of parental rights. Time doesn't permit me to go into that. Number three, loss of religious liberties. There's enormous evidence of those three losses that always fall behind when the government has a vested interest in redefining marriage.